What is up, guys? Wonderbro here. Today we are going to talk about a particular worry, fear, whatever you want to label it, that a lot of anxious people, sensitized people share. They have it in common, and that is the fear of unreality, a fear that everything in this world is fake, that other people are fake, and that nothing is real. There's a lot of reasons behind this particular worry, but usually how this comes about is one day, sensitized person, said sensitized person, has this thought and it sticks with them because it creates such an anxious reaction. It creates, such a fear inside of them that this thought sticks with them. And they start to think about it and they start to worry about it, and it really bogs them down because every time they think about it, every time they start to worry about it, they get this huge anxious reaction, this feeling in their stomach, this adrenaline rush, whatever you want to call it, anxiety. And so the thought really bothers them. The first thing you need to understand is it's not so much the thought as it is the reaction. If you had this particular thought, and you may have before, and didn't have any sort of reaction, didn't have any anxiety when you thought about it, it probably wouldn't bother you nearly as much, if at all. If at all. I know for me personally, these particular worries that I had, about going crazy, for example, if I have the worry now, if I have the thought now, rather, where I'm not sensitized, it doesn't bother me. I think, oh, going crazy, it's just another thought, just like any other thought I have. It comes and it leaves. But when you're sensitized, you have reactions to thoughts. You have anxious reactions. They're ready to pop off at any minute. So when you have the thought and you have a reaction, it bothers you. Therefore, it sticks with you. So it's not so much the thought as it is the reaction. If you had the thought without reaction, without anxiety, it'd be just like any other crazy thought people come up with, any other imagination that people come up with. When you are sensitized, your nerves are ready to pop off anxiety over the smallest and littlest of things, including your thoughts. Here's a fun fact for you. The brain doesn't know the difference between a real thought or just an imagination. So when you think about being real or unreal, when you think about going crazy, when you think about all these negative, bad, scary things, when you're sensitized, you get a big reaction. You get a big reaction because your brain sees that as happening right now. It sees it as true, and it sees it as a threat to your survival, and that's why you're getting such a reaction. Now, it's true that the brain doesn't know the difference between real or imaginary, regardless, whether you're sensitized or not. But when you're not sensitized, you can be reasonable, right? You can be reasonable and you don't get a huge anxious reaction. But when you're sensitized, everything is bam, in your face. That anxiety is ready to pop off. So these thoughts, whereas you could just dismiss them before, maybe they caused a little discomfort, but not much, and you could just dismiss them and think, oh, there's that thought. You can't really do that anymore because you're sensitized. So every time you think it, anxiety, anxiety, anxiety. All right, so there's really two things you need to understand when dealing with this fear of everything being fake, You need to understand, number one, that you were sensitized. That is why you're getting such a reaction to this thought. And number two, if you weren't sensitized, you probably wouldn't care so much about this thought. It wouldn't be so bothersome. So sensitization is to blame for you having such a scared reaction, such an anxious reaction to this thought of unreality and everything being fake and, blah, blah, blah. The list goes on and on. And I wanted to focus on this particular worry, fear, because it's common among a lot of people who are sensitized. But, this video could apply to any particular fear like that. It could apply to any fear. I'll go over it one more time before I end the video. Number one, you need to realize you're sensitized, and that's why you're having such a reaction to this thought. Number two, you need to realize that if you weren't sensitized, you could probably have the thought, dismiss it, and go on about your day, and it wouldn't be that big a deal. And you probably have in the past. And I know this is true because I can think about going crazy right now as I sit here. No big deal. It's just a thought, just like any other thought. But if I was sensitized and I started thinking about that, it'd cause an anxious reaction. I'd have to start using acceptance. It would cause an anxious reaction. So that's the two things you need to understand, guys. So I hope this eases your mind a little bit. This thing is not going to haunt you forever. These thoughts will pass. They're just a normal part of sensitization. A tired, overactive mind, a weak body, nerves that are popping off. That's all it is, guys. So you don't need evidence that everything is real. You don't need to figure out the thoughts. You don't need to argue with them. You need to accept them, let them be there, and every single time they pop up in your head, just remind yourself that you're just sensitized, and this is temporary. Sensitization will pass, and when that does, the thoughts won't bother you at all. At all. Alright guys, until next time, make sure you leave a like on this video. That lets me know that you're grateful and that it helped you out, and that means the world to me. Subscribe if you haven't already to join our growing YouTube channel. We are growing every single day, and we are a family here. We've got a great community. You want to be a part. So if you enjoy watching my content, go ahead and subscribe and be a part of us. You know, be a part of the family. Anyway guys, until next time, you're just sensitized. This is temporary. Use acceptance on the thoughts and the feelings. Alright? Stay awesome.